as I mentioned before, the decade you were born in was a great decade of movies, of action films, of male testosterone, male ego machismo
84 to
films.
94, fantastic movies all along.
I would definitely say 80s to the 90s, even like 77. I'll even go a little further back
Okay.
if you want to include Star Wars. Even also into the 90s, great era of action films,
Yes.
shows. We're seeing today remakes and revisions of the original. In our review of the 1989 classic Roadhouse starring Patrick Swayze, we have now, I dare say, revision of that classic into 2024's Roadhouse, currently streaming on Amazon Prime, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. And I say revision because this felt more like a Elseworld movie in comparison to the other one. Already, by the time of this review, and this is the weekend that it premieres, with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 62% by the critics and 60% by the audience, that's pretty damn low, and there's a good reason.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. My name is Angel,
I'm Adon.
where we give you a review at least once a week. Spoiler alert, Roadhouse 2024, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. What's his name in there? Because they say Dalton, but his name is not just Dalton.
No, it's like Elliot or it starts with E. It's like Elliot, Elton, Eli,
Hold on, let
Elliot
me just
or
double check.
Elton.
You also have here Daniela McCord. No, I can't say that word. How do you say that last name?
Oh,
She's Spanish, and I can't freaking say that name. Doesn't sound Spanish, but
Daniela Macior. I don't think is she Spanish?
McCord. Hello, you don't think she's Spanish with that accent?
That's true. She's Portuguese. Um,
Well, there you go.
yes, but
She's
she was in
Latin.
Suicide Squad.
Ugh.
She was
She was,
she was the Suicide Squad. She was the rat catcher.
yeah, and I'll say again. Ugh. I'm sorry, I was not attracted to her at all. She played Ellie,
I thought she was good
who
for their character.
was
Okay.
no, but she was also Elizabeth from the original, the Doctor. So you have that
Yes.
similarities. Elizabeth, Ellie, Elle, Eliza, blah blah blah. They all have different nicknames for Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
Then you also have here Conor McGregor playing Knox, Billy McNewsom as Brett Brandt, Jessica Williams from Frankie. She's from The Daily Show and some other shows as well. BK Cannon as Laura. Joaquim Del Almeida was the sheriff. Post Malone, well, here was Austin Post, but he was Carter, who does not know how to fight. Lucas Gage was Billy. Dominique Columbus was Reef. He looks like a fighter.
Yeah.
Arturo Castro was Mo. He reminded me of the heavyset dude from the original with the polar bear. He was
Oh,
the comic relief.
yeah.
He was the comic relief. I thought he was great. JD Pardo was Dell. And I thought they were going to make a fun with that name, Dell,
Mm-hmm.
because of like the computer. Anyway,
No, they just made fun of the guy.
Bo Knapp as Vince. Hannah Love Lanier as Charlie, which was the girl. Kevin Carroll was Steven, the father.
Mm-hmm.
Darren Barnett, we know him from where?
Let's see.
Blue Eye Samurai. Hello. He was the love interest.
Yes, 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 yes.
Travis Van Winkle, what a name. I think he was the ex-cop that had the boat.
He was in franchises I know of, like Transformers, Friday the 13th remake. Smaller roles in those. He wasn't like the big star roles.
Craig Nung, that was the dockmaster. He kind of reminded me of Emmett from the original, the farmer.
Yeah.
What do you think about this movie?
Uh, There's aspects I like, but at the same time, it's a little bit mid tier, just to be frank.
The action here was a lot better in
Yes.
comparison to the first one.
Yes, I
A
like that.
lot better. Me too. I thought that was great. But this is not a remake. This is
A revision, like you said.
a revision, yes. And where you had the complaint from our review on Roadhouse, the bar is called Roadhouse.
Yes, but they're like it's a joke. That's the joke of it. Don't you get it?
I
Uh,
thought, you know what I thought they were going to do? I thought they were going to make a joke in the sense of my father loved the movie Roadhouse.
that would have been great. That would have been
Yes,
fantastic.
I thought you just put that in. Just call it what it is. Dalton. That's not the original name of the
No relation.
Patrick Swayze. Right. And I looked it up. I was thought maybe this could be like his cousin, his son, or what
They
have
probably would
you.
have had a better time arguing that fact that they were related in some way.
Right.
Um,
And then he was like, didn't this happen to my uncle? Something like that. Something like
yeah.
that. It was like, geez, you have pretty much the similar setup where you have a bar owner looking for help,
Mhm.
outside help. And she goes in. Now she goes in looking for someone else.
Yes.
She finds him because the person that she wanted, which was Carter, which was played by Post Malone, who cannot fight. His techniques were terrible. And that's one of my faux pas because they did some editing masterpiece in this fight stuff.
Yes.
Oh, they did. That he just gets scared and walks away. She hires a guy who clearly has no experience being a bouncer,
That's another thing I was gonna say.
no experience. Where in the first one, the bar owner of the Double Deuce looks specifically out for
Experience.
Dalton because of his experience, because of his notoriety, because of the legend of him.
Yes. Here she's
Multiple
just
reasons.
hiring muscle just to hire muscle.
Right. With no like
Mhm.
nothing. I don't think she knew that he was a UFC fighter.
No, she said she recognized who he was, like,
Okay. Oh
er
yeah, it's like that's your gimmick. You just show your face and then people will get like blah blah blah. Now I will say this. I did like in the sense of that he is troubled
yes.
because of his anger management issues.
Mhm.
When he gets like into the zone, he just goes crazy. He just like it's hard to stop him, as we find out in his bout with as they said, his friend.
Yes.
They knew each other. Like they were, and he had that in UFC and a lot of MMA
They may be
fights.
friends, but they'll still need to hype up the sport, they get aggressive with
Well,
each
not,
other,
not just
stuff
that
like
they're
that.
not just that they were friends, but they were former training buddies.
Yeah.
Big money fight. They're going to sell tickets, and then there's a great story of once time friends now enemies. You see, saw in that fight like a switch flipped, and then he just saw red, and he even says that too. He even makes that announcement like, "I'm afraid that if once I start, I can't stop."
Yeah, that was at the end, like, near the
Right,
end. Mhm.
right. I thought Conor McGregor was being his debut in film. He was funny and great, but a little cringy
Yeah.
performance as well.
The whole
He's
the McGregor walk the entire film.
well, not
He
just
McGregor
that.
runned. You know what I mean? He did a McGregor run.
No, but like the thing is, he's smiling everywhere. Every time he is smiling,
It's
and it
supposed to
didn't
be
even sound like
insane.
yeah, he's just smiling all the
I would say
time.
the
And
one time he didn't smile was, like, when he said and I thought this was actually not a bad moment, where he's like, "You're a little messed up." "Me too."
two sides of the same coin.
Yes, that's what it's supposed to
They
be.
they can relate, right? But he didn't sound like him. I'm not sure because of like a lot of times you got to redo your voice, but it doesn't sound like it sounded like his voice was dubbed by someone else for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's the steroids he's taking because he was huge.
I mean, he could have been just
Yeah,
flexing the lats and, like, going like that the entire
but
time.
maybe, but he was huge. It was funny because he used to be like a 135-pound fighter
Yeah.
and carry himself like at 150 and then cut himself down. But now he's like 180 on that short frame.
Mhm.
It was just, ugh. There are a lot of similarities from the original. Yes. You have some similar dialogue. You have the same also in the sense of that how he meets the doctor through the hospital.
Yeah.
Even though it's a little different because he took himself to ER to get in the original to get himself stitched up or looked
For
after
the stabbing or for the cutting.
for the
Uh,
cut for the knife wound
yeah, where in this
by
one, it
the
was
fat
the
one.
people where he beat up Dell.
No, it wasn't. Well,
Yes.
yes, he took them to the hospital. Yes,
Mhm.
that's true. But the doctor Ellie comes and says, "You're bleeding. Let me take care of that." And
Yes.
that's from the beginning scene where a guy came up to him and said, "Hey, Dalton, you made me lose a lot of money," and just stabs him, and Dalton doesn't even flinch.
Yeah.
Then he tried to fix it himself. He tried to do like a John Wick kind of thing, but just with like I think crazy glue and a tape.
Yes, which I think he did a very poor job with the crazy glue. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, yeah. Me too. She asked him, "Do you ever win?" He said, "No one ever wins in a fight." That's the same by verbatim in the original Roadhouse.
True. Which I found funny in the original World House. Later on, he's like, he does say, he's like, all I do is win. He's like, I never lose.
And yeah, that's something we forgot in our food pause in the original one.
Yes. It's a interesting revisioning of it in
It
some aspects.
Yeah, but they missed the mark, I think.
I'm
I
not disagreeing in that. Like,
they focus more on the action aspect
uh-huh.
than of the story aspect because his arc in this story doesn't really make sense.
No, it doesn't.
He just finds comfort in killing.
Well, no, that's the thing. He doesn't find comfort in killing.
Yes,
Not
he
initially.
does.
Not well. When he gets
Well,
pushed to a
no, he
certain
doesn't
point,
want to. He does no. He what he's afraid of is the line. If he crosses it, he's not going to stop. But the thing is, he kills the guy by
crushing his throat.
lets him drown, then takes him to the beach to where the cop is taking the money, shoots him. Of course, he's already dead. And then he tries to knock out the cop, which he's stupid because he's like, the guy does remember, he remembers what you said. I was like, what? Wait a minute. Unless that was his plan all along.
Yeah, he's just
Granted,
manipulating
he
everything.
tries to save Dell from the crocodile.
Yes, yes.
He tries to, right.
He didn't know
But
the
again,
crocodile was there at first.
but he knew the crocodile was there.
Well, no,
You
what I
remember?
mean is like when he threw the shotgun into the water, that's when he sees the crocodile. Like he did, otherwise he wouldn't have would have helped Dell out first.
I don't know. I mean, I think the whole thing was,
I mean,
at the
that's like this thing. Like everybody in who comes to Florida, they hear about the crocodiles. They don't think that like the alligator, technically alligators, they don't think that the alligators are everywhere. No, they're everywhere. Just
Yeah,
because
but
you
the
don't
thing
see
is,
them.
I mean, I think at that moment, you're not worried about that. You're worried about the guy who's trying to kill you,
Exactly. But
and you
he
trying to
clearly was controlling the whole situation.
right. But again, he didn't want him to die, right? He was
Yeah,
controlling himself, right? It just felt weird how comfortable he was killing. Like it was just like killing people left and right after that, and I was just like, "Mm,
I get it. He blew up the ex boyfriend's boat almost for
yeah,
no reason.
right, not needed. You could have that bag could have been the money,
Yes,
or like this is partial. This is part of the money. Put it in, and then yes, he blows up the ex boyfriend's boat, putting Ellie in danger. She almost drowned.
that's true. She could have been on that portion of the side of the boat.
Yes.
Absolutely.
This is what I like about the original. He's pushed Dalton, that is, Patrick Swayze's Dalton, is pushed to his limit. He tries to avoid as much as he can. He tries to be the pacifist in that sense. Let's deal with things. But then when people he cares about are getting hurt, and then when his mentor is killed, that's it. Because
Yeah,
I believe, like in here, he was going to leave town.
he
Oh yes, he
was.
was.
He was.
That's right. He was going to leave town. Him and his mentor
Which
were
was
going to leave
for the
for the safety because of the flip coin,
yes, yes.
right?
Yes.
And Brad Wesley did not tell him
Who it
which
was.
coin it was. It's like so he was like he reacted. He was like, "Let me get you both to safety." It was
hmm
kind of like Batman.
Oh, Dark Knight.
Yes, Harvey Dent and the love interest. I can't remember her name. Can't remember her name at the moment.
The
But
other one.
anyway, he had to decide in that movie. Here, there was like no decision. That's why I missed here. There was like no mentor. Like I would. You didn't have to be a
He didn't really
mentor.
mentor the crew at the bar. He didn't
No,
do anything to help fix the bar up.
no. But I'm talking about like this Dalton did not have a mentor of his own.
Yes.
Like it would have been cool, like say, like he had a gym buddy that came to see him. It was like, hey, I hear that that he kept in touch with, always
You,
checking up on him. How you doing, buddy? Blah blah blah. If he had that, but he didn't have that in this film.
you know what? I think this would have been because we always talk about like how we could have done a better story, even though we're not into that
This would have
market.
been a better story or
If,
better premise
if
if it was
this is
just called
Wade
Dalton.
Garrett, Sam Elliott's character.
Oh, you mean make it a prequel in that aspect?
Yes.
Like how Wade Garrett became Wade Garrett?
Yeah, how he became Wade Garrett, and then how he got introduced to the bouncer life, and then that's how he starts.
Okay, I like it.
It would make more sense in a lot of ways. One, it's still
Well, it could be.
Roadhouse, and then
It's still
two,
Roadhouse in that world, and it shows us since it's pretty much different. Since it's a different Dalton, you can have in a way like at the end he meets a young Dalton.
yeah,
Yes, damn, you're good.
That's what she said.
Yes, I like that idea. Instead of making it about Dalton, because I mean, if you're gonna do that, then you should just call it Dalton, not
mhm,
Roadhouse.
yeah.
I mean, you could have fixed it right. My father was a fan of Roadhouse. He named the bar the Roadhouse. Now, granted, we get an answer why it's called the Roadhouse, and Dalton doesn't get it.
hmm
I was like, really, dude? It's on the road. You can come by, have a drink, like make this your home
Yeah.
on the road.
I
So
mean, if anything, the movie felt self-aware at times where they're talking about it's like a western, and they start talking about like how we were talking about like a western
Yeah.
and
Oh,
kung fu.
yes. That girl of the bookstore,
Hmm.
she reminded me of Red from the original.
Yeah, she's
It's the,
supposed to be like the Webster. Yeah,
right. Red Webster, Red West, I think.
okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, she's like the local know it all in a sense
Hmm.
aspect. But I mean, I do like to go back to in the sense of besides the martial arts, like the way in this Dalton is troubled. He's always has that, just like the Dalton of the original, he's troubled of what his actions did, by killing a man. He
Yes,
also, it implies that he killed someone in the ring.
yes. Which they
Does it,
eventually say.
what did it say he killed him?
They were like, "This is the punch that did it," and they're like, "Yeah, that's the
Yes,
punch that did."
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
they never said it. I don't think they actually say he killed him.
They just say that the
For
punch,
all that
yes.
we know, he could be paralyzed,
Correct.
which could be
Yes.
just as bad in
Or
many
brain
aspects,
damage.
or brain damaged.
Right. The
Um,
guy is either alive, immobile, or he's dead.
he went too far.
Is there a favorite moment? So far, we've been just dogging it, but so
So as silly as it is, I do enjoy the Conor McGregor moments because it made me laugh, and I thought that
Mhm.
was comical. The fight scenes would were the best highlights for me, for
Yes,
all honesty. Like the
yes.
Jake Gyllenhaal also got into, I don't know what was his project before this, but he got into great shape to
No, it was
look the
just for
role.
this.
Yeah,
It was just
because like
this.
the last thing I remember him in was Spider-Man. No, Far From Home.
He did another one. He did like an ambulance. It was
Yeah,
called Ambulance, I think,
yeah,
with Michael
Ambulance,
Bay. Michael
which
Bay's.
I didn't watch that, but I imagine he didn't need to get shredded for that.
No, he got shredded for this. But I thought he was too shredded.
I mean, they're trying to argue the fact that like he's a UFC fighter and
No, I understand that, but UFC fighters, after they're done,
they're
they're
usually
not
not that shredded.
they're not shredded 24/7.
Hmm.
They're built, they're muscular, there is some definition, but not to the where it's like razor thin body fat.
Yeah,
But maybe that's due to the fact that, he was homeless, he was living out of his car, getting food is very rare.
true. That will make you
And
shredded, like a
yes,
malnutrition.
malnutrition, correct. You're
Yes,
okay. So we can use that as an excuse. But
absolutely.
then he had a job that
And,
served food.
and a home to stay.
No home to stay. He was getting well rested. Well,
That should fade away a little bit.
except for the boat dreams that kept him up.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like I laughed more on this one than I did on the original.
Even though the action was there in this, it was more lighthearted
The
or
piano's
comical.
off key.
It sounds good to me.
As cheesy as that is, it made me
It was
laugh.
cheesy, but it was him. Like he was like Spider-Man.
Yes.
Spider-Man does that. When he's in trouble, whatever, when he finds himself in a pickle, he'll make a joke or make something lighthearted.
Yes, yes. It just dawned on me, like as we were talking, I want to say, like, I at first I thought this was a bad scene, but I get why it would be good now. Is
Mhm.
because like the scene when he first meets Knox, McGregor's character,
Uh-huh.
and they first start fighting, and then
Mhm.
afterwards he's leaving, and right
It made sense to
after,
me.
yeah, it
It made
makes,
sense to me. Yeah.
well, like at first it didn't. I'm like, now you're gonna leave town. After that, you technically didn't lose, and you're gonna leave town. But like after he loses everything, and like he starts explaining, I just was trying to keep calm, trying to do all this because I'm afraid of what I will actually do. It was him leaving because he knows he's gonna set everything ablaze. Kind of like Man on Fire. I love that film.
No,
Denzel Washington is the
that's
epitome
Denzel.
of Man on Fire.
But still,
I'm not
Men
comparing
on
the two.
Fire. But Men on Fire, his job was to kill people in a sense
Yes,
to protect the girl.
but that was it. He was like, his job is just protect the girl, keep a cool
Hmm.
head, and like
Hmm.
isolate that life. That girl
Hmm.
became something more than just a job, something that was precious and was taken away.
No, of course,
And
right?
then he's
Yes.
like, I am going to burn everything to
Hmm.
get her back. Which I love that essence and character type. So like when you can epitomize that in a role, and you do it well, I think it carries very well. Seeing that, I think that was a good moment.
Okay.
Can I tear into a movie more?
Tear, buddy, tear.
Okay, what we complimented on the original versus here, I felt like they gave too much of the background.
Yes, they kept going over it.
Mhm.
They kept going and they kept rehashing it. They kept bringing it back. It would have been just, it would have been fine enough when Brant and him are at the bar and they show the clip.
Mhm.
That would have been enough.
Yes, we didn't need to see the dreams. I would be cool with him waking up. Like tossing, turning, waking up constantly, constantly, and then we see that with Brant at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
That would actually be perfect.
I think I mentioned earlier that we do see similarities of the original, but
Yes.
then we also see a different direction it goes. It takes some essence of the original guy hired to work on a bar. Then you had some characters very similar, like the girl, the bartender goes to his house or to the boat to bring him breakfast. We saw that in the original.
Yes. Which, mind you, in both scenarios, I was never okay with. I'm like, how's it people break into people's houses and
Well, she
everybody's
said it.
okay?
She said there's no doorbell.
That don't
That
make
was
no
her excuse.
difference.
I mean, if both of them had a gun, that person
Yes.
would have been shot.
Matter of fact, that's literally all the villains needed to do. Just walk in while they were sleeping in either film.
Yes. In either film, you're correct.
It was a big old
Exactly.
loophole
Because apparently everyone knew where he lived
from
on
day
both of them.
one.
Especially in this one, everyone knew who his name was.
They're like, it's a
Hey,
small
Dalton.
town. We got
But
the
still,
internet.
it's like, so they knew his name. They knew where he lived, especially because it was the bar owner's boat.
Yes, but that was like how you argued in the first one. He literally lived next door to the boss.
Well, he lived right next door to the enemy, correct. And here he did not live next door to the enemy. Plus, there really was no enemy. There was multiple enemies, if you will.
Yeah.
You had the sheriff, who was the father of the doctor, Ellie.
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
which I think you got confused from our previous review of the original Roadhouse. He thought that she was the daughter
I
of
did.
the
I did.
villain. And then you had the son, Brant, who wants the bar. Then you had the father who's behind jail.
It's really the father who wants the bar, and the son is like working for the father.
But I
But they
understand, but
never
I'm just
really
saying,
established more into that. Like I
and
was wanting to know more about the father
which leads me to think, especially at the end, you just saw the end credit?
with McGregor. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it leads to me thinking that there's gonna be a part two.
Yeah.
In the first one, Dalton stays. He finds happiness. He finds peace. He finds the woman of his dreams. He finds a family in that town. All that stuff. Where this Dalton, just like Bruce Banner on the show, walks the earth. But like, or Kwai Chang Kane, walking the earth. Wait a minute. How does that crazy maniac die from a multiple stab wounds that are not fatal? But then
Oh,
we see him walking out. I was like, okay, that makes sense then. All right.
I mean, they could have been fatal. He got stabbed
No,
like two, maybe three times in the
four times.
gut.
Four
Four
times.
times.
He got hit in the leg, hit in the gut, and then like right by the collarbones.
Yes, but any one of those, like in the leg, he
No,
could have hit an artery.
but he
And
didn't because they hit an artery. He had to hit on the inner thigh. He didn't hit the inner thigh.
there's more than one artery.
But that's where you bleed on the inner thigh. That's where you
Yes,
bleed to
that's
death.
true, but it was a long ass spike. And then secondly, he got hit in the gut, right? We agree on that.
So did Dalton
So
twice,
did so did Dalton, yes. And
but
then he
didn't
got
die.
but he got stabbed downward through like the clavicles.
So he breaks the clavicle. The people live from
Not
that.
necessarily breaking the clavicle, like he could have gained like a lung.
Anyway, he didn't die from that. There's
No,
other ways to
evidently he
die.
walked
It
out
definitely
unless
died.
he's a
Plus, he's
Highlander.
a crazy man. I was expecting him to jump out or up. Aha, motherfucker!
Oh,
Like,
like do that like the whole like I'm not dead yet. And
yeah,
just
like
come back
who
up.
was it? Oh, Die Hard and Lethal Weapon, where the and one of the antagonists comes up for the final strike.
McGregor's character has been thrown from a boat, tossed around, all sorts of stuff. I thought he was caught up in the explosion. Like his character just doesn't die
What explosion?
when he was coming up with his boat, right?
Oh, yeah, but no, you see him sway to the side
Yes, I understand that, but
on the opposite side.
initially when the explosion happened, I thought it was close enough that it exploded. He got caught up in it because that was a pretty big explosion. You know,
No, true, but then you also have like in a sense like he's he's pulling himself through the rope
by the anchor.
underwater by the rope is like Batman thin
Yes, it's
rope.
cable wire rope.
Uh,
Like it's
well, it's not really cable wire, but it's thin as cable wire. Like, how
yeah.
can you get a strong ass grip by that force? Oh, but also Dalton gets hit by a truck,
Yes.
and then he falls into the water. The thing is, like, he tries to escape, and as he escapes from the car hitting him, He still gets hit by the car, does a flip in the air, lands on his side, able to get up. Then I believe he gets hit again by the truck. But then he jumps off the boat that Connor was on, jumps onto that boat where his girlfriend
Oh
and the
yes, the flip
bad guy.
catch.
He flips on top of the boat
I think the boat
on
hits
on
him,
the
which flips
on the
him.
what? No, well, he doesn't hit the no.
The boat
The
hits
boat
him.
the boats hit each other, but he
Yes.
bounces up, hits on top of the canopy, then lands inside the boat right by the bench,
He
whatever that thing
does
is.
grab it though at one point. Like he grabs it both hands and like the funkiest acrobatic move I've seen in a
I
long time.
I thought he grabbed the rubber boat that way, and then he gets on.
No, no, he grabbed no, he did that. He grabbed a rubber boat when he was in the water, but when the
Right.
two boats collided, he also jumped up. As
Yeah.
the other boat hit him, he
Uh huh.
flipped. In the process of flipping, grabbed the metal
Uh huh.
cage to land
Okay.
himself inside the boat.
Okay.
Yes, it's
Okay.
ridiculous, but it happened.
Yeah, you would think at that speed that he bounced off the canopy and totally missed the boat and land back in the water.
Absolutely.
But more faux pas. There's editing in the fighting.
Yes.
Even though the fighting here is far better overall than the original,
Hmm.
there is editing in some of these fights scenes where you see that the person getting hit, either they edit the reaction or they separated the reaction from the punches. Case in point, Post Malone Carter is fighting the big guy, the bald headed fat guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He's throwing punches, and the punches he throws and the guy reacting, getting hit, two different things. It's like Post Malone's going like this, and the guy's going, what? Like he's like, react. Okay, you get hit now, boom. You get hit now, boom, boom. Or the editing is like they take a frame or two out to look really fast.
Hmm.
They did it there, they did it in other scenes too. And Post Malone should have lost some weight for that scene because he was just flabby, bouncing, all this stuff. His kicks were like, oh, it was so forced. Now, granted, some of the techniques were cool. Like I saw the the cross to the uppercut, pretty damn good on that stuff. The timing and the showing of that was good. Now, my favorite moment in the fight aspect,
The slaps.
the slap scene.
That was a good fight scene.
That was really good. Overall, he's like, "Oh, I slapped you. Are you okay?" Like he said it like it wasn't a punch, it was a slap, just to embarrass them some more.
Well, like it leads up to that. Was like, do you have insurance?
Well, yes, he
He's
says
like,
like he talks to them. Is like just to let you know that what you're
you
about
don't
to
have to do this.
endure. No, yeah, he tried to calm them down. He tried to avoid it. He tried to get the people outside. Like how he did that. Oh, those are your motorcycles.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That was
and
clever.
but yeah, that was clever. But that was also like Mose played by Arturo.
Yes.
Oh, so yeah, mine's the red one. Like he's just having a
I liked his
conversation.
character. His
Me
character
too.
had me in stitches.
Tell me about him. Oh, he's a nice guy. He'll talk to you real nice, but then he'll just kick your ass.
Yes.
But I liked him.
It's
Like
like,
he was saying, he was like nice guy. It's like, hey Dalton, how are you, man? And it
Where,
says
where's the hospital? It's
he
about 25 minutes away. He's like, don't worry. He's like, there's a hospital 20 minutes down the road. I told you it was 25.
25. And then like Dell and his guys are looking at him. It's like, dude, shut the hell out, man. It's like, what are you doing? And then he sees him, like you said, he sees him take the
He's like,
body into
he
the
looks
truck.
awfully heavy. He's like, funny enough, I was about to leave. They
Yeah.
they don't really
He's
tell
like,
me
I'm
anything,
done.
which is kind of funny.
Right. He was what made it bearable in this movie.
Yes, he did
All
a
this.
very good job with the humor. I thought he
Yes.
was going to turn and like sign up to join the bar.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been awesome. Or go to the Wade Garrett premise that you were talking about.
Are you saying that he was Dalton?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that okay. So if we had this movie like as Wade Garrett's origin, and he turned out to be Dalton, yes, that would be hilarious. That would
Right.
actually
Like
make
it's
this
like
fantastic.
in a different way. Again, like a different direction in the sense
Yes,
of not so serious. And then Knox becomes the victim of the throat of the eagle claw.
or for the sequel,
Yeah.
that would work actually. Yeah,
This had so much potential. I want to see the sequel because the sequel of the
the
original
original. Mhm.
because I want to see like where did they get the influence? Obviously, they got influence from the original, but did they
Yes.
get influenced by the sequel as well? So I would like to see because again, in the original, yes, this like the original is a western, but the original was a western kung fu mashup. This is strictly more of of a western with martial arts in it.
Yeah.
There is no one finding piece. There is no Tai Chi scenery.
We already said our Star Wars reference in the first iteration of it. I think they
Well,
lost
no,
their
okay,
Star
okay.
Wars
So
reference
no,
here
no, no.
too.
So not, no. Well, there you can have Star Wars reference, but in a sense, like in the first one, you have a man that controls the town, that owns a town.
Yes, but it's not the
That's not
son that
here.
owns it, it's exactly, he's not here.
Well, no, no, no
He's
one
the
owns the
emperor.
town. No, no, no one owns the town. He wants to. He wants to take over to make it an empire. Like, it's
Yeah.
a real estate thing. Let me buy this bar. Let me own this bar so I can take over that area to have it what I wanted it to be. Where was having a the father who was in prison was laundering money or using it as like a drug thing. I don't think they cover that up,
Yeah, I
but
think
it
they
looked like
said it was about drugs. I would have
was
thought it
yes.
would have been more interesting if, like, Ben Brandt at one point just let it slip, like, yes, he's trying to get the spar, he wants to do the real estate so he can kinda get away from his father's image of doing stuff, but he's
He
just
was
doing
though.
no, he's
He
still
was though.
technically working for his father.
Right, but
Yeah.
he's running the business for his father or taking over in a sense like this. He was trying to separate because everything he has is
Yeah.
because his father went to jail.
Yeah.
He's in prison, so he inherited the boat. He inherited the business. Even though the father is running from behind
Yes. What I'm
bars.
saying is, like, if they took the storyline, the lines like, yes, he inherited everything from his father because his father's in jail, but he's actually low key wants to make the resort so he can retire from the business.
Hmm.
He's just going about it the wrong ways because that's all he knows from his father.
But right, like why? Why? And I mean, I didn't like the part too where like it became like a detective story because Dalton is trying to figure out like why are they trying to get the roadhouse, like why they're so invested in the roadhouse. Like,
Yeah.
dude, don't do that. No, no, don't be a detective here. Don't because
Yeah.
you have no.
Technically, in the
Right.
original, they like it was no big deal. It was like the guy saw a chink in the armor of his control in the town, and that's why he
Right.
wanted the double deuce. Here's more like it's some big mastermind plan. No, it didn't have to be that complicated.
Now, would you watch it? There's a sequel.
Depending who's in it, I might watch it. Like I'd be intrigued about Arturo Castro's character if he was in it,
Yeah,
and of course Conor McGregor.
of course, Conor McGregor would be in it for a sequel if there is a sequel.
Yes, no, but those will be the two main reasons. Obviously, Jake Gyllenhaal, I thought he was good,
Mm.
but like, if those two were back in it, I would absolutely consider watching it.
Would you watch this in the theater?
Hmm. No, I don't think it's theater worthy. Truthfully,
Yeah, same here. Same here. What about for the action? Is it worth it for the action?
yeah, you know who would love it? Dad would love it,
Of course, it's
and
senseless.
yeah, Dad would be like, "This is a great movie. It's fantastic."
Yeah, but is it worth the watch as a whole?
One and done.
Yeah. Now I may watch it again because of Kim because she hasn't watched it. I watched it by myself,
Mm, that's fair.
but I may watch it. But yeah, I think it's one and done. It has so much potential, but they missed the mark. The action is good. Conor McGregor did a great job overall as his first time doing a thing. Like you can tell, like he was having fun with this.
Yeah,
You can tell.
I feel like if they gave him a little bit more improv to be like throwing some Conor McGregor insults in here.
If Conor McGregor could have been Conor McGregor more, yes. All
Like
the
why
shit
he's
talk,
fighting, shit talking.
all the shit. Yeah, well, like he does that on UFC stuff on it when they're up to the fight. He is a great, shit talker.
Yes.
If they had that there, yeah, it'd have been great.
Do you agree with the ratings?
On Rotten Tomatoes, 62% by the critics, 60% by the audience. Yes, I find it right there. I would have been pissed if I went to the movies.
Oh yeah. Even if I pay my AMC, I would have been like I used my free token for this. I
Yeah,
would have been
exactly.
upset.
All right, guys, that is our action review of 2024's Roadhouse. Have you seen it? What was your favorite moment? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you have a movie or show you'd like us to review, please let us know in the comments. Also, follow us on Instagram. Until next time, we'll be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm a Don.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.